Live? I think we're live. Let's go.
Yeah.
Riverside threw me off today, but welcome to Digital Hospitality. I'm your host, Shawn Walchef. This is a Cali BBQ media production. In life, we believe that every business needs to be digital first. We also believe that every business is in the hospitality business, whether they know it or not. We started this show back in 2017 to have conversations with the best entrepreneurs, business owners, restaurant owners, technology professionals. And we're so grateful that we have an amazing community that has supported this show for the last 7 years. If you're new, welcome. We're live on YouTube. We're live on LinkedIn. We're live on Facebook. We're weirdly available. And we are very excited to introduce Chef Paul Natrall. Chef, welcome to the show.
Hey, good afternoon. Thank you for having us or having me. Super excited. And just what you said right there just has a lot of meaning to it, right? Like digital media, social media, it's all huge, right? I know a lot of great chefs and cooks, but you have to have that personality and the storytelling to go with it to get somewhere. So thank you for having me, man.
Of course. Tell us what you're building, Chef.
Yeah, so long story short, like I specialize in Indigenous foods. I have grew up around it as Squamish Nation from North Vancouver up in Canada, BC. But I've been specializing in Indigenous foodways since 2009, 2010. Professionally, I went to culinary school and took a specialty program. Back then, it was called Aboriginal Specialty Program. They taught us classic French cuisine for 9 months, and then 3 months they taught us like an intense version of Indigenous, or now it's Indigenous foods. We went to the surrounding communities and learned stuff from the smokehouse to pit cooking to open flame. One of the biggest highlights that I remember in culinary schools, we did events over Vancouver Island, and they dug a pit for us, and we roasted some beets and had some mussels. So like, just really like old school cooking. That's the fun part.
For those that don't know, can you share what is indigenous food? What is it?
Yeah, so Indigenous food, that's always like a big question, but it's like fresh regional ingredients. For me, being Squamish Nation, we're located on the west coast in BC. The ocean is right there. Capilano River runs right through our territories. So any kind of seafood, for me being Squamish Nation, there's like pink salmon, sockeye, coho, like you name it, right? And then there's crabs, mussels, and stuff like that. But if you're looking to land, like there's a lot of deer, venison up here. Uh, my I grew up on Squamish Nation territory on my dad's side, but my mom's side is from Stamanis over Vancouver Island. And there, like, there's like a ton of deer. Like, I have cousins that go hunting so much. And it's just awesome to be able to be very lucky to have a lot of fresh stuff on the West Coast, right? I get to travel a lot for work, and when I go back east in the interior of Canada, like there's not as many options of fresh stuff.
Share what are you doing for work?
Yeah, so I created Vancouver's first Indigenous food truck, Mr. Bannock,
Awesome.
and yeah, it was super exciting. We launched in 2018. 2019, I got a Young Entrepreneur of the Year award.
Congratulations.
Uh, yeah, thank you. I recently became a chair of a national Indigenous culinary nonprofit up here in Canada. It's called the Indigenous Culinary of Associated Nations. We have chefs in different provinces that we come together, share our knowledge, share our stories, but the best part is to share our food. Uh, last year and the years previous, we did a huge event called Taste of Turtle Island, where we brought Indigenous chefs from across the country. We actually had two chefs last year and the year before come up from the US as well. So just really coming together and bringing our knowledge, experience, and bringing a punch with all the flavors from across Turtle Island, right?
That's awesome. What is Indigenous food sovereignty? What does that mean?
So, yeah, so that just like really focuses on like super traditional stuff, you know. Um, that's the fun part of creating indigenous recipes and indigenous dishes. Like you showcase the traditional ingredients and like cooking styles, right? Like me being Squamish, so I'd be talking about like smoking salmon, barbecue salmon, just cooking on the flame and seasoning it with like natural stuff, like natural ingredients, right? Um, just taken aback. Like I was actually one of three Indigenous chefs that went to the World Culinary Olympics in Erfurt, Germany, and we focused on really traditional stuff. And I used stuff like sea asparagus, salmon, and scallops. Like created a pate, but like if you're really focusing on food sovereignty, is like using natural seasoning. So stuff like the sea asparagus, like I dehydrated it and pureed it, so it would be like a natural salt, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then stuff like sumac as well, that's like a lemony and fresh herbs, right? Just kicking it back like old school and really showcasing like the main ingredient and complementing it with other things.
How do you source ingredients for Indigenous food?
Yeah, that's the hardest part. It doesn't matter where you go. Like I said, I travel a lot for what I do, and it's always everybody has the same challenges with indigenous foods, you know? Like people can't go forage and can't go hunt and then serve it in a restaurant. It has to be certified from the government up here. Uh, So like I would get my exotic meats like for special events and stuff from local like smaller producers, right?
Mm.
We can get venison, we can get bison, they're like salmon, like king salmon and stuff like that, right? So you just have to do your research and or like reach out to us and we can help you connect with the right people as well, right?
What have you learned about opening a food truck?
Oh man, there's so much like every entrepreneur has large ups and downs, right? Uh, I want to tell a quick story, but when I first started, like I didn't have any partners or like people to back me, so it's all me, like all my vision, all my I put everything on the line, like leaving a full-time job, right? That's the scariest part in being an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
Um, But when I first started, like I cleared all my debt, and long story short, I got a business loan through Van City. It's a local community banking up here, and I found a food truck. I think my all-in budget was like 40 grand, and I purchased the truck. I got everything ready, got it inspected and all that. But as soon as I bought it, like paid for it, and the day I went to go pick it up, it broke down.
Oh,
And like legit, I only had probably maybe 5 grand left in my budget. And it was like some major engine issues, and I still had to buy inventory, I still had to do the designing. And long story short, I didn't have enough to do it, right? But luckily, I had some relatives that bailed me out and loaned me some money that I paid back within like 6 months, right? but like just have a backup plan for a backup plan.
Hmm.
Yeah.
What have you learned since that time? You know, if somebody comes and approaches you about getting into chefs, we have lots of people that listen to this show that would love to take that leap to get into the
Yeah.
restaurant food service business. We always suggest starting with content, start with storytelling. It's much cheaper. Start with media, start a TikTok channel, a YouTube channel, an Instagram channel, and then, save your money and work for existing businesses so you can learn how truly difficult it is. But what is your advice for somebody that actually wants to take that leap?
Yeah, like you guys nailed it right on the head, exactly what you said, right? I 100% agree with that. One of the best advices that got given to me was work your butt off for another company, do everything they ask, and try to do more. But you can make mistakes on someone else's dollar, right? But at the same time, you're making yourself better. You're challenging yourself and getting that company to the next level. And then once you do all that for a bit, then maybe you're able to go to the next step. But I would suggest like education, like my partnership with the Indian College Fund is very dear to me, like the new partnership that I'm forming. Before I launched Mr. Bannock, I took a bunch of business courses, social media, HR, marketing, uh, to get down and be able to tell the the story and the branding on social media, right? And that really helped me big time. And there's a lot of ways you can get to that next level, right? So I would say just put in your time, work hard, perfect your craft, and then go to school. And then once you've done that, evaluate on what your next step is, and just make educated guesses because it's not easy, man.
Yeah.
I learned the hard way, and I had a lot of ups and downs, like every other entrepreneur, right?
Yeah. One of the biggest lessons that my grandfather taught me was to stay curious, to get involved, and to ask for help. And my grandfather was such a big proponent of continuing education. Can you share a little bit more about the American Indian College Fund?
Yeah, we have a couple events coming up. There's one in the Twin Cities, and there's one in Denver as well. But it's an awesome nonprofit organization that does a lot of work in the communities, like funding for students that want to go back to school. And like I said, it's just really near and dear to my heart because my grandfather and my family believed in education, right? And me myself, I actually dropped out of school twice, like high school, but I eventually went back and got my grade 12, and then I did some upgrading and went to culinary school. And then, like I said, I took some marketing and business and HR classes. So it's a definitely a tool that everybody needs moving forward in this world that we have today, right?
So if you guys want to learn more about the Twin Cities, the EATS, you can go to collegefund.org/TCEATS. We'll put a link into the show note. You can also follow at Insta College Fund. What kind of technology are you using to run your food truck business?
Yeah, so like we're on all social media platforms, right? Instagram's probably bigger. Facebook, like a Facebook page. TikTok is huge now too, right? Doing like little short movie or video clips of doing stuff. We have a Bannock mix that we have, and I created a TikTok video that I just used a QR code and put on our packages, right? So people can just like scan that and watch it, right? So there's a lot of social, like digital stuff and social media that changes so much, right?
For sure.
And I guess the biggest thing is to just keep refreshed on that kind of stuff, right? There's a couple times I took social media and marketing classes a couple times just because it changes so much. I remember The first time it was like maybe 3 years before I started my business, and they were talking about taking pictures and storytelling like with that. So I did that, and then a couple years later, after I started my business, I went back and refreshed it. And then they were saying that videos were going to be huge now, right? In visuals and storytelling part. And then TikTok came along, right? So, like, it's a good way to keep up with the trends and to get the story out there and your branding out there.
What are your goals for your brand? Well, first of all, you didn't tell me Mr. Bannock. Why? What's the name? Give me the story behind the name.
Well, so Mr. Bannock, like that was a name that my partner now, one of her best friends, actually called me because we started seeing each other, and I was doing a lot of pop-ups and catering gigs, and I was Bannock was always what people asked for. So that's what I lean towards in doing. Like you gotta do what people want, you know? And then fast forward a bit after we seen each other for a while, I got approved for my business loan, I got the truck, and I had no idea what name to use. And then my partner was telling me a story with her friend. She's like, "How is Mr. Bannock doing?" And that's just how it came about, you know. Again, I specialize in Indigenous foods. I can do so much for it, but I guess Bannock is a staple that everybody enjoys trying for the first time with Indigenous foods, right? Like if we're gonna talk about some really inquired flavors, I'd say from here in BC, there's a thing called oolgans, and it's a very small fish. Like they're from up north, but they ferment it, and the flavor is like very potent. But you use a little bit of your cooking, and it has so much like natural, I guess, vitamins and helps your immune systems and stuff like that, right? Uh, they say that you take a little, like maybe a teaspoon or half a teaspoon of ooligan oil and put that in a tea or some soup like once in a while, and it just helps cleanse your body from toxins and everything, right? So, but like if I brought that to an event and people don't know what it is, I can guarantee you there's going to be a number of them that will not like it, right?
Yeah.
So just making stuff that people are curious about and that will come in and try it, listen to the story, try some of the food, right? When I first started, we did Bannock tacos and a variety of them. We did a smoked chicken, we did a bison, pulled pork, like all the good stuff, you know. And I just mixed that on top of a bannock with some fresh, like regular taco ingredients, you know.
That's awesome. If you guys want to learn more about the American Indian College Fund, once again, their Instagram handle is at Insta College Fund. Where's the best place, Chef Paul, for people to follow you, connect with you?
Yeah, I have Mr. Bannock Food on all social media channels, and my I have large visions and goals for Indigenous foods. Like I was one of 3 Indigenous chefs that went to the World Culinary Olympics, and we fell short in bringing some gold medals home. But there was challenges there on its own because we were short a couple members to have a full team. Some of the judges and coaches from other countries were very happy and excited to see us there, and they said that if we had a full team, 5 members, we would have came home with at least a bronze or a silver. You know, showing up to the biggest stage in the culinary world and being this close, it was like heartbreaking, right?
It's all right. Why do we fall? So we can learn how to get back up.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
But that's like the bigger goal for me, to share Indigenous foods and my story, to help bring in more Indigenous chefs to come and do those kind of things, right? I would love to bring home some medals one day. It doesn't have to be me doing it. Maybe I'm coaching or something, you know,
Mm-hmm.
but just showing up to the biggest stage in the world and giving them heck.
Well, we appreciate the work that you're doing. Thank you for taking the time. If you guys are watching this, I'm weirdly available at Shawn P. Walchef, ShawnPWalchef. You can reach out to me on Instagram, on LinkedIn, TikTok, YouTube, Cali BBQ Media on YouTube. We're putting a lot of content out there, so check out our Cali BBQ Media YouTube channel. And if you want to join a live show every Wednesday, every Friday, Rising Tides Live. We believe a rising tide lifts all ships. If you're a content creator, if you're in the restaurant game, if you're in sales, technology, join our digital hospitality community every Wednesday, every Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific time. You can just reach out to me and I will send you the direct link. Chef Paul, thank you so much. Good luck in the Twin Cities. Good luck with the events. Keep in touch if you ever need anything from the West Coast, from San Diego. You know how to find me. So thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure, and hopefully I see some of you guys. I think it's February 18th or
Yep.
April 11th and 12th.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you. Have a great event. And thank you guys. As always, stay curious, get involved, and don't be afraid to ask for help. We'll catch you guys next episode. And
Take
we
care.
are out. Good job.
Yeah, thank you.